This Mercedes-Benz SUV, held at a U.S. Customs Central Examination Station in Elizabeth, has a starting price of $131,000. It was reported stolen. The BMW X5 starts at about $60K. The five-finger discount, however, will chop down the price at a higher percentage than any Bed Bath & Beyond coupon. Car theft is a big criminal enterprise, and business is booming. As reported earlier this month by Darias News, according to the New Jersey State Police, through July 31st, car theft in New Jersey sharply increased year to year by 20%, 25% for high-end vehicles, and 70% in Ocean County. Many stolen cars will call on ports all over the world. Dangerous scenarios are often the result of vehicle theft, such as this accident earlier this month on Route 17 in Paramus after this Audi was allegedly stolen in Washington Township. The vehicle theft problem is not only in New Jersey. In the last week alone, a man from Maryland was sentenced in federal court for exporting at least 17 stolen vehicles bound for Africa, worth more than $800,000. Federal prosecutors in Buffalo obtained a guilty plea from a man from Ghana for conspiring to export stolen vehicles purchased using stolen identities. How to stop the crime spree? The last line of defense is U.S. Customs and Border Protection. At the Port of New York and New Jersey, at Newark and Elizabeth, tens of thousands of cars pass through each year bound for destinations all over the world. When Darias News visited this Ro-Ro terminal in Newark, roll on, roll off, there were vehicles bound for Lagos and Dakar, a loader backhoe, and school buses heading for the Dominican Republic, and a helicopter. Destination? South Korea. One of the officers charged with detecting stolen vehicles is Dean Panzerino, a veteran officer with CBP with a nose for funny business who says he finds 200 to 300 stolen cars each year. It's a big challenge, as the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey just reported record cargo increases.
None of these cars were declared on the filing by the shipper. They had just put erroneous cars down that did not coincide with what we have behind us. Once the vehicles were removed from the container, all three VIN numbers on the cars were entered into our NCIC database, and all three were found to be stolen.
CBP says they use a layered approach for stolen vehicle detection. Various methods are used. As with any profession, however, there's no substitute for experience.
We do have trucks that can X-ray a container. A lot of it is targeting off of the filings for export, and a lot of it's hands-on, examining containers, examining cars that aren't in containers. There's a good part of it's intuition. As you build up experience, you get that gut feeling sometimes. I get a lot of that. So we have this Land Rover heading out to Africa. We're just going to do some quick checks to make sure that the public VIN is correct for the vehicle. There's also a VIN number in here on the door. Make sure that they both match up, which they do. Take a peek under the hood. Make sure everything's intact with that.
So you mentioned before, you kind of have an eye for this now, right? It's not only your training, but your experience, right?
Yes. The more cars that you look at, the better you get. The more VIN numbers you look at, the better you get. And you learn as you go. When you find them, you see what's there in front of you, and then you work off of that. It's just building over the years. You just keep going and going. There has to be some sort of work ethic involved too, but you just need to be focused in your work. There's times I've walked past the car once, twice, I said, you know what, let me go look, and it was bad. It's just one of those things. You know, and again, if this car isn't stolen, they might have something concealed in it. It's an outbound car, so with that being said, there's no spare tire, so somebody took that already on this. They could have currency concealed in here. I'll get a canine dog later to run this car. Make sure that there's no currency concealed in it. Also firearms. The dog can run for firearms and currency. We'll do a quick run on that, make sure everything's okay, and then we go from there. You can think of the cars, these vehicles behind me, as currency, and that money in turn can fuel terrorism. you know, and it's a big circle. But that's how you find them, looking at them all day long.
So you've seen every trick in the book?
Not every trick. There's always something ahead of you. But you have to keep plugging away to see them. My most surprising find was I was opening up containers on a terminal in New York, and it was just starting to rain. I remember this good. It was in August, right about this time, and a storm was coming in. The container I was opening was supposed to have furniture in it. I opened it up. There was a brand new Rolls Royce and a brand new BMW i8 in it. That was the most exciting find I've had. Although they're all exciting, but that was a good one. $500,000. It was brand new. $375,000 the guy paid for it. The sticker was still in the trunk. Right now I only have 2. Normally there's 50. Excavators, heavy construction equipment. We get dump trucks. A lot of times you'll find these stolen off of construction sites. That's a big way they get them. They take them right off the construction site at night, they bring them down to the port, and they look to ship them out. Over here at this terminal, there's many different unique vehicles that we see, from helicopters to airplanes, drilling machines, trains, freight trains come in and out. Years ago, it wasn't exported, but it passed through the space shuttle. Came through here on a ship going, I believe it was going to the Intrepid Museum in New York. Really anything and everything, whatever you can imagine comes through here. Every once in a while, something's stolen. The total domestic value of these cars is approximately $10 million. It's always around 10 million, 11 million. That's a lot of money. This is money that the insurance companies would have been paying out. Instead, they're being able to kind of recoup some of their money, and it doesn't impact our insurance for our cars, regular citizens. We're paying more money because of all the cars that are getting stolen.
As for those cars back in the warehouse in Elizabeth, the Mercedes and the BMW were stolen in Illinois. An automotive industry finance expert tells Darias News the G-Wagon can pull in $35,000 to $50,000 on the black market and $25,000 to $40,000 for the BMW. The Toyota Camry was a stolen rental from Texas. It was most likely meant for parts.
There's 2 ways cars can be exported out of the country. They either go in a container or they go on a ro-ro ship, it's called. The cars are driven onto the ship. It's like a huge parking garage. 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 cars will fit on the ship, but they're driven on, they're not in containers. Those cars that we found earlier in Elizabeth were in a container. Over here is non-containerized. I find cars here also. It's a little harder finding the cars here because there's just so many in front of you. When they're filled up, there's probably 3,000 to 4,000 cars on this lot. Ultimately, they'll end up back to the owner. If more than 30 days go by, normally the insurance company pays out to the owner, and it's going to go back to the insurance company, and then they'll go to a salvage auction usually.
As vehicle theft soars, can police make a dent?
On a daily basis, routinely, I field questions. I speak to state and local police here in New Jersey and New York, HSI here in New Jersey and also in New York. We also work with numerous other federal agencies, FBI, DEA, Secret Service. Even the Secret Service does cases about stolen car rings and stuff like that from time to time.
Sources tell Darias News an ongoing investigation has already netted more than 40 stolen vehicles. Regardless of the circumstances, all law enforcement seem to have the same 3-word message for the public: lock your car. Reporting from the Port of New York and New Jersey at Newark and Elizabeth, Cesar Darias.